Hello and welcome, I am Maziel, and today, as I left a poll up about whether or not you choose the aftermath of the first Armageddon War or the Star Child, which one got retconned. Now, you guys chose the aftermath of the Armageddon War. Now, that's quite interesting. I think it's an interesting war, for especially the first one, as it's meant to be hush-hush, it's a demon war, and the Star Child actually does have a bit more depth to it. But let's talk about the first Armageddon War and, the aftermath. See, originally, the aftermath was quite simple. The Space Wolves as Grey Knights separated. The Inquisition took the citizens of Armageddon, took them away. And, the Space Wolves let this be. Because Ulrich the Slayer literally said there is to be no more bloodshed. And, going into that war with Grey Knights was going to be more bloodshed. So Logan Grimnar kind of went, okay, I give up. We won't pursue this any further, and that's that. And of course, it was further expanded. So this is first point: is this really a retcon or is it an expansion of existing lore? These aren't the same thing, but I am going to sort of judge them the same way. That if it expands, does it add or does it take away anything from what we know? So, then, of course, the Grey Knights attacked the Space Wolves. The fort ensued, a Grandmaster died, and, there was a massive amount of turmoil. So, the problem with this is, it kind of makes everyone look bad. And to understand this, we have to go back to the start of the first Armageddon War. The first Armageddon War was, as I said, a demon war, and it was started with food riots. Food riots within the hives on Armageddon. Armageddon is a very big Mechanicum world. It's a very much a Vectorian world. So exterminators, when a demon invasion is there, is literally, well, probably usually the last resort, but it was well off the table that it was not going to happen. It would cost the Imperium too much for Armageddon to be destroyed. And so, that was never going to really be an option here. So the food riot started, blood flowed, and it was a very violent place. It was worse than most hive cities are usually. They're usually quite violent and nasty places to live. And of course, this wasn't any better, but it was on a scale unheard of in any hive city at the time. And when violence like this happens, a certain god takes a very keen interest. And that god is Khorne. Warp storms happened and demons poured in. And there was a lot of demons. So, therefore, Grey Knights came. Of course, demons, Grey Knights. Why wouldn't they be coming now? Where's demons? And after the demons, this war then took the attention of Angron and his World Eaters. And that was when it really kicked up into high gear. Totems were being raised with the dead of the civilians and other, the Steel Legion. And it was going to, well, quite literally howl in a handbasket, and the whole goal of these demons was to swallow Armageddon whole and have a new demon forge world, which would obviously help with traitor cause quite a bit. So the Space Wolves and demons, Grey Knights, came and fought the war. It ended at a river where the blood of the World Eaters flowed so much the river turned red, and Angron, being a demon himself, could not sustain himself. The death toll was not working. He was going to dissipate, and of course, so were the other demons. So therefore, all the World Eaters ended up dying, and all the demons ended up just back into the warp. So then that's how that bit ended. And like I said, that was going to be the end. Well, then of course, sorry, missed a bit. Then of course, the Inquisition said, well, these guys are, we're going to take them to the sterilization camps. We're going to, basically reduce the planet population to 0. They're going to be alive, but they're going to sterilization camps and prison camps. It's not a great thing, but you could always look on the fact that they are still alive, and that's on obviously the ones that weren't turned into servitors. So the Space Wolves were quite upset about this, but like I said, Ulrich the Slayer talked down Logan and went like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. Of course, he wasn't happy about this, like I said, and he flew into an absolute temper and, swearing, cursing, that would make basically an orc blush. So, You can guess why. They had just lost the entire citizenship that they were meant to save, and they couldn't save because it would mean going against the Inquisition. And that's where the expansion onto the fighting actually hurts the law in the long term. The Inquisition are terrible. They are a faction that you do not want to get on the wrong side of. Ask the Astral Claws. And even the Relictors became traitorous excommunicators, or no wait, they had to go on a penitence crusade, even though they were following directions of an Inquisitor. So if they had fought, there would have been massive escalation. Even Ulrich said this. If they had fought, there would be escalation, and it would cause more trouble for Armageddon itself. So this entire, like I said, I don't know if you're going to call it retcon or expansion of the existing lore, but it does hurt all parties. It hurts the Space Wolves because the one time that they actually showed restraint and actually works for them, but they couldn't go after the Inquisition. The Inquisition could quite easily, declare the Space Wolves excommunicatus traitores, and you'd have some bigger chapters, such as the Black Templars, who are very, very loyal, go up against them with the Death Watch as well as the Grey Knights. So that would be 3 full chapters going up against the Space Wolves. Yeah, the Space Wolves, I don't even know if the Space Wolves have the numbers to back up against the Black Templars. But yeah, that's the problem. There would be a massive toll taken on the Space Wolves. And again, it's never really expanded further than that because it seems a bit silly that the Inquisition never took this to any further degree, given that the Space Wolves pretty much acted against them. Defending yourself against the Inquisition believes that you've acted against them, even though they hit first. So there's that part. So the Space Wolves have no longer got restraint. They became barbarians again, rather than free-thinking and, actual logical Space Marines who were doing the best thing for the citizens, knowing that more blood would be spilled should they had fought. And that was fantastic. That is never leveled to the Space Wolves outside of barbarians. And let's not forget that any time after that, they could just say, right, we're going to take your dead, we're going to take your gene seed, and we're going to see if there's any mutations. And the Space Wolves have a very mutated gene seed, and this would have been even worse for them, because not only now would they be traitors excommunicatus completely, they would be considered part of the Chaos Lord. They wouldn't even be allowed near Imperial settlements anymore. They would be completely outlawed, because they turned against the Inquisition, which means they turned against the Emperor, and they also had a corrupted gene seed. How this makes the Inquisition looks bad is that they have no follow-through now. That they are not going to go in after the Space Wolves for this, and it makes them look bad, and it makes them look weak. But now, a chapter can go up against a first founding chapter, of course, can go up against the Inquisition and have no punishment. The Dark Angels, very big on killing Inquisitors, can now go, we're a first founding chapter. What are you, first founding Legion? What are you going to do about it? And of course, Dark Angels have one of the biggest, loyalist, and most loyal successors to them. They're kind of still one big Legion, just lots of pretty colours. So it's kind of having no follow through from the Inquisition makes them look weak, and it makes the Space Wolves look barbaric. And then neither of those are true. Space Wolves, yeah, they can be quite barbaric and their way of fighting, but they tend to have a more, fraternity, that would be the better word, of loyalty, and they have big code of honor. But if it means less fighting in the long run, not like Conrad Kurz less fighting in the long run, but less bloodshed, they will try to minimize it as much as possible because they're Viking background and theme, and that's it. So this is my problem. I think it should be left as it was. I mean, it's interesting to see, Space Marines, loyal Space Marines go up against Inquisition, but on a scale of warfare, it makes everyone look bad unless they end up becoming traitors or on a penitent crusade, such as the Mantis Warriors and the Lamenters. They went up against the Imperial and Inquisition with the Badab War, but they were punished for it. The Firehawks, they turned into fire, and they were literally declared excommunicatus just because they're on fire. I mean, probably a very uncomfortable conversation to have with someone. You're on fire, you're no longer our friend, But that's the thing. It seemed that the Space Wolves never really suffered from this, and a cold war between the two of them, having this, sort of underlying hatred for each other and never working with each other, would make, again, more sense in the long run, because they wouldn't want to fight each other, they wouldn't want to fight with each other, knowing that the long-term effects far outweigh what would be gratification at the time. Again, space means aren't always about the instant gratification. A lot of it's about statistics and planning in the long term and not in the short term. So, thank you very much for watching. There you go, that's my opinion on the first War of Armageddon and, the original, the aftermath. Do you think this was a retcon or an expansion of the existing lore? What's your thoughts? Anyway, and as always, links to Whaling Games if you wish to save some money on your Warhammer, up to 20%. They have Space Wars and Inquisitorial stuff, just in case this video tickled your fancy. There is Forbidden Planet for your comics and all that cool stuff. And of course, my comics, my merchandise, my artwork, and all that's down below as well if you wish to support this channel, and I'll be very grateful. And thanks for watching, guys. I'm glad these videos are doing well. I'm actually enjoying reading, the past lore and looking at the new lore too. I'm really finding this an interesting subject to talk about. Next week will be Star Child, because that is a very interesting subject to talk about. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye bye.